ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the press briefing of Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Abigail Valte. Hello, ma'am.
Hello Marie, good afternoon. Good noon. Magandang tanghali po at mamayang madaling araw ng 1:25 a.m. That's November 15, Tuesday. Darating na po pabalik ng Honolulu, Hawaii si Pangulong Aquino at ang kanyang delegasyon. Marami po kasi akong nakukuhang tanong kung anong oras, kung kailan daw po talaga darating. So that's 1:25 a.m. ng Tuesday, November 15. We can start taking your questions.
Yes, ma'am. The first question will come from Weng de la Fuente of Net25.
Yes, Weng.
Tomorrow, the President will also meet with U.S. State Secretary Hillary Clinton. May we know, ma'am, what are the detailed agenda or discussions between the two?
Yes, Weng, I am not quite clear if the President is meeting with Secretary Clinton tomorrow or on the 16th. I am also getting details. From what I know, Secretary Clinton will be arriving here on the 15th, so that's tomorrow. I will have to get guidance from the DFA. I was also asking them for the agenda because a lot of you have been asking us kung ano po yung mapag-uusapan, ano po yung activities. So allow me to get, we will get guidance from DFA, and I was told to expect, I think, a press release from the DFA on the matter anytime today.
But how significant is the visit, ma'am?
Well, ano po ito? Again, it's just a reiteration of our friendship and on some of the issues, the global issues that concern the two countries.
Okay, next question. No question?
No questions.
Ay, Rocky Ignacio,
Rocky.
PTV4.
Sir, aside from
Ma'am.
Secretary Hillary Clinton, ay ma'am, sorry. Darating din sa November 20 to 22 si South Korean President Lee. So, ano yung ini-expect na pag-uusapan bilateral?
Well, yes, Rocky. Magkakaroon po, according to the DFA, of course, the South Korean President Lee will be arriving on November 20 to 22. This is upon the invitation of the President, of President Benigno Aquino III. They are expected to discuss, for one, we will have a state dinner in honor of the visiting head of state. And magkakaroon po ng Korea-Philippines Business Forum. President Lee will also participate in a town hall meeting. I think this will be in Ateneo de Manila University. And yung mga agreements lang din, well, not agreements, sorry, but they are expected to discuss issues that are both pertinent to the two countries. And yung mga concerns lang din po kasi, one, and this we know from the discussions that we've had, is that we have a number of tourists coming in from South Korea. So that is also expected to be a discussion point between the two heads of state.
Next question, please. Carlo?
Who am I to deny you to ask your question? Sige,
Carlo Caromoy of RPN 9.
Ma'am, nagsalita na si Pangulo pero para reaction lang po dun sa Pacquiao fight kasi marami pa rin hindi kumbinsido sa pagkapanalo niya ngayon.
Well, we are very happy. Obviously, marami po sa ating sumubaybay at nanood po doon sa naging fight ni Pambansang Kamao. And let me just say, this is whether you win by an inch or a mile, you still won. Siya po yung panalo.
Magkakaroon po ba siya upon his return, ma'am, ng courtesy call kay Pangulo?
We will have to coordinate with them. I understand that is standard procedure, but I will have to check po if the Pacquiao camp has contacted us for any arrangements.
Jessica Duco of IBC 13.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, mamayang hapon magpa-file ng consolidated fare hike ang Pasang Mazda sa LTFRB dahil dun sa panibagong pagtaas na naman ng presyo ng langis. Ano po yung reaction ninyo dito?
We will have to see kung ano ho yung magiging evaluation muna ng LTFRB for the rate hike. At this point, it will have to be evaluated by the LTFRB.
Pero yung recent oil price increase, justified ba yun, ma'am? Usually, pag mga ganon na, nandun ba yung DOE na nagbabantay pa rin? Kasi parang halos ganon pa rin yung trend lagi.
According to Yusek J. Layug, and I did hear him in an interview this morning, nagsabi po ang DOE that according to their computations, meron nga pong pataas na mangyayari because of movements in the world oil market. So, nag-warning naman daw po ang DOE. And again, tuloy-tuloy pa ho yung pagbabantay natin. From what I understand, they come up with the computations every Monday at nakikipag-meet daw din po sila doon sa mga transport groups, sa mga stakeholders every Monday to show the movements in the prices. And ang nangyayari po doon is some people are asking kung bakit daw po hindi linalabas ng DOE yung computations to the public. Ang nangyayari po kasi dyan is if they have the computation, they do not want to influence the market in the sense na Lunes sinabi ho nila na ito dapat yung pagtaas, baka daw po iangat agad. Or kung ito naman yung pagbaba, what they do is they call the attention kung kulang ho yung binaba or sobra naman po yung pagtaas ng mga oil companies.
Weng de la Fuente of Net 25.
Yes, Weng.
Ma'am, do you have any idea dun sa cabinet revamp po na binabanggit na mangyayari daw? Kasi parang may nabanggit yata si Presidente sa Hawaii. Can you confirm how many of the cabinets would be affected po?
None, Weng. Actually, the answer to your question is, do you have any idea? No, I don't have any idea. I am aware that the President did say something to that effect yesterday. Yesterday nga ba? Yes, yesterday.
Coffee with media.
But
in Hawaii.
we will have to wait for him to come back, for him to explain a little further or perhaps shed more light kung ano po, kung meron ho ba talaga, kung sino po ba yung tinutukoy at ilan. At this point, we in the Home Office have no idea kung ano ho yung what went on in the mind of the President at that time.
Ma'am, previously may mga persistent informations that Senator Lacson would be appointed daw sa DILG.
Well, ang tinanong po namin yan kay Pangulong Aquino at ang sagot po niya sa amin is that Secretary Jessie Robredo is the head of the DILG.
So there's no possibility.
Hindi po vacant yung position.
Rocky?
Pero ma'am, as cabinet members, paano nyo nakikita na nagkakaroon na indication na magkakaroon nga ng revamp?
Paano po namin nakikita? Well, personally, I take it from the President. Kapag siya na po yung nagsabi, dun lang po namin ako confirm for sure. Of course, you will always have rumors na may isang grupo, pinapag-resign po. In this particular time, pinagre-resign po si Secretary De Lima. Yun lang po yung nakukuha naming sense that this group wants this secretary to resign or this particular interest. But kami po, we take it, especially the spokespersons, unless the President is the one that tells us, we will hold off on any confirmation.
Okay, ma'am, ibang topic. Si Presidente after IPEC pupunta sa ASEAN, kailan po ba siya? And
I
other
think on
details
the
ng trip niya sa
on the
ASEAN?
17th. I am not quite sure. Nag-briefing na po yata ang DFA on the ASEAN. I think on the 17th, but don't hold me to that. Medyo hindi po ako ganun kaklaro dahil sunod-sunod ho yung events natin.
Christine? Christina Vendanya of the Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Yes, Tin.
Well, unlike the others, yung Palace is quite supportive of Pacquiao, given yung controversy of the win. So, parang, is this the way, the nation should go? Parang we support him, whatever yung that controversy is.
Sorry, Tin, again.
Kasi the Palace seems to be, very supportive of the win of Pacquiao, given nga that, di ba, there's controversy on whether he did win, although yun nga, he won. So is this the way that, the nation should go, that, we support him even given the controversy?
Sa atin po, lalo ho dun sa mga atleta natin, hindi ho madaling iwagayway ang bandila ng ating bansa, lalo ho sa mga palakasang ganito. At ang lagi po nating sinasabi is manalo po or matalo, sinusuportahan ho natin yung mga atleta natin, and on that note, I would like to congratulate our athletes who won medals in the SEA Games. 15 na po yung tally natin. From what I understand, 6 po dun yung gold. But this may be outdated information, but we'd like to extend our congratulations to our athletes.
On the revamp, so parang na-surprise yung Home Office dun sa disclosure ni Presidente.
Well, hindi naman po sa na-surprise, but kami po kasi we all know that we serve at the pleasure of the President. And ano po yun, baka sabihin niyo po, gas-gas na, lagi niyong sinasabi, but that is truth. There is some truth to some cliches. Kaya po siguro sila nagiging cliche. But kami po, iintay na lang din po namin yung advice ni Pangulong Aquino. Perhaps later you can ask Secretary Lacerda kasi siya po yung kasama doon. Hindi ko lang po alam if Secretary Lacerda has had the opportunity to speak with the President on after that particular interview.
Pero if cabinet members have, parang performance checks or something,
Sorry?
yung parang performance check by the President in the way, performance assessments by the President.
The President is very conscious of how his cabinet is performing. Ano po yan? You can't pin it down and say na every other month nagkakaroon ng check, but it's more of yung tasks na naibibigay talaga sa kanila ng Pangulo.
Mia Gonzalez of Business Mirror.
Yes, Mia.
Ma'am, before the President mentioned that he plans to create new positions regarding this cabinet reshuffle, what was your understanding of how we explained it during the interview we had before?
Yes, my understanding was, yung tumatak po kasi sa akin nun is yung sinasabi ni Pangulo that there is always room for improvement. That there is always a way to make things better. And because of that recognition, we are continually looking for ways to improve our service to the public. So yun po yung, from what I understood, Mia, yun po yung naintindihan ko nung sinabi po ng Pangulong yon. He did mention a specific position because you had asked him kung ano ho ba yung magiging what position he had in mind to be created. He did mention a specific position. And going further, yung sinabi po niya kasi is that apart from the need to improve, kung ano ho yung tasks delineation and kung ano ho yung mga dapat pang gawin. But he did also mention at the end that yung hindi ho siya impending na ngayon na. This is something that napag-isipan po niya, and it was essentially Mia more of not people but more of functions.
Kasi ma'am, he mentioned specifically the position of the Secretary of the Cabinet. Based on what he said, is he inclined to fill in that position? And also possibly the position of Chief of Staff?
That I do not know. I do not know, Mia. Kung he did mention that in passing, I think in reference to former DOTC Secretary Ping De Jesus, that at the time of former President Cory Aquino, it was the position held by Secretary Ping. I do not know if the President is looking to fill that position or kung ano ho yung mga posisyon that he plans to create.
Ma'am, we're joined this afternoon by the Climate Change Commission, the head of the Climate Change Commission, Lucille Sering. Hello.
Yes, more interesting briefings rather than you talking to me. Si Secretary Lucille Sering. Ma'am?
Ma'am, I think there are more questions for you.
More questions?
Jimmy Pilapil.
Sige. And then I will leave you to after you take care of.
Ma'am, may
Yeah.
binanggit po kayo kanina na may grupo humihingi ng resignation ni De Lima.
Yes.
Anong grupo yun?
The Arroyo Camp is asking for the resignation of Secretary
Sa
Laila De Lima.
cabinet, wala.
Sorry, Jimmy?
Sa cabinet po. Yung grupo ng mga cabinet.
No. It was in reference to the Arroyo Camp, not from any particular secretary in the cabinet. Thank you for allowing me to make that clarification.
Mia.
Ma'am, during the APEC, there was a move by the U.S. to push for a trade bloc, the TPP. Are we interested in being part of it, even if we have to amend our constitution?
I do not know yet. I will have to discuss that with. I don't know what the discussions were with reference to us, but allow me to get guidance also from Secretary Domingo and from the President himself. I
Okay.
think, Mia, this was brought on by the interest of Japan to participate in the TPP, correct? Okay. I will have to get more guidance.
Okay, any more questions for Undersecretary Valte? Yes, Vanch? Vanch Fernandez, ma'am.
Na-miss kita kahapon, Miss Vance. Kasi pinagpalit mo ako dun sa... Mm-mm. Doon.
Ma'am, it's not my fault kasi inherit talaga.
Okay.
Sige na nga. Yes.
Meaning to say yung sinasabi nyo na satisfied ang presidente sa lahat ng cabinet members. So, may plano ba talaga ang presidente na palitan ng ilan sa inyo?
Well, Miss Vance, you'll have to forgive me because kahapon po yan napag-usapan doon sa Hawaii. And the President did mention something to that effect. I have not heard the audio nor read the transcript. But when we had the round table, I think, Mia, 2 weeks ago, the President mentioned that that the men and women of his cabinet are all excellent people. It was the discussion at that time was geared towards more down the road of yung streamlining of functions and what if there is a need that needs to be filled. Yun po yung mga katagang ginamit ng Pangulong Aquino.
Ma'am, on another issue, yung sa PPUR, ma'am, were you able to, yung nakipag-usap na kayo regarding do sa mga text messages na there was no response on it?
Some of us have been in contact with the organizers and they said that they will look into it. But so far, mukhang okay naman po dahil we landed in the provisional list. So it's the support really of the Filipinos that propelled the PPUR into the provisional list.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, and I will see you early this morning. Doon po sa mga sasalubong, it's at 1:25 a.m. So let us all wait and listen to the arrival statement of President Aquino. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am Lucille Sering of the Climate Change Commission.
Ma'am, you have the floor.
Maraming salamat at salamat rin sa pagkakataon na makaharap kayo ngayong hapon. Ang dahilan kung bakit ako nandito, meron pong memorandum circular na dineclare ang ating kagalang-galang na Executive Secretary Ochoa. Dinideklara ang November 19 hanggang November 25 na Climate Change Consciousness Week. Kung yung naaalala, kasagsagan nung Pedring at ganoon na rin yung Undoy at Pepeng, maraming humihingi ng maraming mga katanungan. Ano bang ginagawa ng gobyerno? Ngayon po, ito yung kauna-unahang exhibit na gagawin ng gobyerno, pangungunahan ng Climate Change Commission, kung saan lahat ng ahensya ng gobyerno, lalo na ng Cabinet Cluster on Climate Change, ay ipapakita kung ano ang mga programa at proyekto ang ginagawa ng gobyerno at sakaling maaari bang masagot ang mga tanong, meron pa bang pag-asa ang Pilipinas kung sakaling talagang dadating na ang kasagsagan ng pagbabago ng klima. Nakita natin nung sa Inquirer noon na front page, sinisisi ang pagbabago ng klima. Kami naman sa komisyon ay nagsasabi, bago tayo na maghanap ng excuse na gano'n, dapat natin munang intindihin kung tama ba yung mga ganong dinideklara. Hindi tayo nandito upang para manakot. Pati na rin ang pribadong sektor sasali sa ating exhibit at inaayanyahan na rin namin kayo, ating mga kasama sa media, kung saan mag-set aside kami ng workshop for the media so that we will have to understand each other how these things are to be reported, that the impacts of climate change is not just about extreme weather events, hindi lang po bagyo. Meron na tayong tinatawag na sea level rise kung saan nakikita na rin natin sa ibang bahagi ng ating bansa kung saan may ibang-iba na ring isla na lumulubog kaunti-unti. At yung pangatlo ay yung pag-iinit na panahon kung saan nakikita na rin natin yung mga insidente kung saan nagre-reduce ang fish yields dahil sa pagbabago ng temperatura ng klima. Ito po sana ay isang mga dahilan kung saan kaya kami nagkakaroon ng exhibit para masagot ito at inaanya again ang the media to go there and ask the questions after the workshop so that we will all understand each other if we are really ready. Pagkatapos po next week ay tutungo naman kami, pangungunahan ng Komisyon ng Department of Foreign Affairs, ang pumunta sa Durban, South Africa. Ito po ang pinaka-importanting usaping global pagtungo sa pagbabago ng klima. Dahil ang projection po natin by 2020, lalo na ang Pilipinas, ilang bahagi po sa Pilipinas ay mananatiling tagtuyot. Kahit sa panahon ng tag-ulan, mananatiling tagtuyot at malaki ang impact nito sa ating ekonomiya, lalo na sa Mindanao. So kung sana po ay pumunta kayo next week, ito po sa SMX, November 21 to 22. After that, tutungo po tayo sa Albay kung saan si Governor Joey Salceda ang siyang magiging host natin sa pagbabago ng usaping pagbabago ng klima. Kung meron pong patanungan, malamang wala naman.
Meron, ma'am. From
Okay.
Rocky Ignacio of PTV4.
Ma'am, pero gaano kahanda yung Philippines when it comes to dun sa usapin ng climate change? And ang alam ko, parang dapat may international issue na dapat yung mga climate change takers like the Philippines, may parang fund na irereserba para tulungan din yung mga ganitong countries.
Ang Pilipinas ay nakapasok sa iilang bansa lamang para pagtuunan ng pansin kung paano pagdisenyo dun sa tinatawag na Green Climate Fund. Ito ang maaring pinakamalaking pondo na set aside ng global community para i-address ang climate change. Last week, lumabas yung reports ng Pilipinas daw ay number 3 or number 5 sa most vulnerable. Dahil sa dalawang bagay. Una, exposure to risk. Pangalawa is capacity to adapt to those risks. The reason na pangatlo tayo dahil marami po sa atin exposed to this risk. Ibig sabihin, yung populasyon ng mga tao ay nandun sa lugar kung saan nangyayari malamang ang impact ng pagbabago ng klima. Pangalawa, yung kapasidad to adapt to this risk. Ibig sabihin, pumapasok yung economic capacity ng lugar, papasok na rin yung kahandaan ng local government unit at sinasabi sa study na ito ay ang Pilipinas ay mahina. So isa ito sa mga tinitingnan natin. Pag pumupunta tayo sa mga global na usapin, ano bang merong global na tulong na pwede nating itap? At the same time, gagawin din ng gobyerno kung anong meron tayo. Kasi hanggat sa ngayon, hanggat hindi natin na-address ito, ay maaaring pagdating ng panahon, like 2020 at 2050 scenario na sinasabi ng siyensa, ay mananatiling ang Pilipinas ay magiging vulnerable. Kaya maliban sa ating sariling kaperahan, pumupunta tayo sa ibang bansa at pati na rin sa ating mga partners, humihingi na rin tayo ng assistance dahil sa tayo very vulnerable sa impacts.
Mia Gonzalez of Business Mirror.
Ma'am, in your press statement, you're urging the public to do simple things to help improve the climate. We've had experiences with Bedouin and Ondoy, and people seem to still not have learned their lesson regarding climate change problems. What do you intend to do to drive this message across stronger?
Kasi ang pagtugon kasi dito, hindi lang naman gobyerno din may responsibilidad. Malaking responsibilidad ng gobyerno. Nasa tao rin naman para tumulong. We have several laws already in place. Solid Waste Act is one of them. And the implementation of the Solid Waste Act remains to be below 10%. Hindi natin alam kung kasalanan ng gobyerno o kasalanan ng tao. Meron silang kakulangan dun sa impormasyon. At pati na rin kung sa implementasyon, walang kang nakikitang mga nadedemanda sa paglabag sa batas na to. Dapat, we're seeing a lot of efforts, especially of the national government. Kaya kami creating convergence kasi ang problema ng pagbabago ng klima ay hindi lang problema ng DNR, hindi lang problema ng DPWH, hindi lang problema ng DA, kaya dapat sama-sama ito. Ito ang punto na gusto naming iparating dito sa Consciousness Week na sana'y tuloy-tuloy nating gagawin. Hindi lang sa iisang linggo, kundi sa pang-araw-araw na gawain.
Vanch Fernandez.
Ma'am, can you try to elaborate more kung anong nagagawa po ng international community doing to solve this climate change?
Ang posisyon kasi is, ang sinasabi kasi nila, ang global community, lalo na yung mga developed countries, ang siyang dahilan kung bakit nagbabago yung klima. Kaya sila dapat yung mangunguna sa pagtugon ng pagbabago ng klima. Ang Pilipinas ay developing country. Kumpara sa kanila, maliit po ang ating emisyon. Kaya sila dapat ang mag-reduce. Pag nag-reduce ka kasi ng emisyon, may economic implication. Kung let's say puro coal sila at naninitiling dependent on fossil fuel, katulad ng Saudi Arabia, ay mahihirapan din sila pag-transition kahit pa may pera sila sa pag-transition. Ang tinitingnan po ng international community is yung timing at yung transition ng timing. Pero sinasabi na kasi ng siyensya, kailangan na po natin gumawa ng paraan within 5 years to reduce this. Ano yung mga economic implications and trade-offs for reducing emission? Kasi pag hindi po natin ito ginawa ng tinatawag nating very clear reduction of emission globally, kahit pa mag-reduce ang Pilipinas o ang Indonesia, kung ang buong mundo naman tulad ng China at ng USA ay hindi magre-reduce, mananatili tayong pagtaas ng pagbabago ng klima, ay ibig sabihin yung temperatura. Ngayon po, nasa 0.7 degrees na tayo at ang impact nakikita na natin. Ang pinag-uusapan ngayong global is kung paano malimit sa 1.5. Hindi na natin ngayon mai-imagine kung anong itsura ng Pilipinas pag 1.5 degrees. So globally, hinihikayat namin at pinipilit namin at sumisigaw kami, dapat gumawa ng paraan ang international community to reduce emission, kasi kahit anong gawin pa natin na pera, kung patuloy ang pag-init ng panahon, masasayang lang yung ating efforts.
So what's the best strategy for this? Kung ano pong ibang kaakibat na ahensya ng gobyerno ang inyong katulong po dito?
Maliban sa BNR, lahat po. Department of Health, nakikita na rin po natin ang impact ng pag-init ng panahon. Tumitindi na ang dengue and waterborne diseases dahil nga nag-iiba-iba na. Department of Agriculture, may nakikita na tayong manifestations of reduce of fish yields and reduce in yield in even agriculture, katulad po ng ating mango industry, na kailangan kailangan ng sun. Ang nangyayari dahil biglang umulan, maraming peste. So ito ngayon ang kailangan natin sa Pilipinas. Ano yung tinatawag nating vulnerability assessment? Ano po ba ang vulnerability ng bawat sektor na importante sa atin? Agrikultura, wala po tayong ganyan ngayon. So isa yan sa pagtutuunan ng pansin ng Department of Agriculture under their current budget.
Being with the climate change, do you have any allotted budget for the projects?
We are a policy-making body, but what we're doing right now because of convergence, kung anong allotted na budget, kunwari, ng DA sa region, for example, Caraga, tinitingnan namin yon, pinagsasama yung budget at gumagawa kami ng framework kung saan sasabihin namin, kunwari, sa DA na ito ang kailangan ng lugar. Maaring yung dati yung sinasabi na dapat nilang gawin ay maaring hindi na angkop dun sa pagbabago ng klima. So yung budget ng bawat ahensya ay pinagsasama-sama namin on a regional provincial level.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vanch. Mia?
Ma'am, you've said that the Philippines is a low-emission country in terms of carbon emissions, and the climate of the globe depends mostly on those with high emissions. So what can we really do in terms of having an impact on the climate if our emission is not really that high?
We're reducing emissions not simply because we need to reduce emissions, simply because we're not really a big emitter. We're doing it because of its co-benefits. For example, if we do renewable energy, obviously it will reduce emission, but at the same time, it can also lessen our dependence on fossil fuel and also lessen our expenses on imported fuel. So kung we do all these things, we're looking at the economic benefit to the country. Aside from that is also trying to show to the world that we're being responsible in our emissions, even if we're not a big emitter. At totoo yan, di ho talaga nating kasalanan tong pagbabago ng klima. Pero maliit na bansa, kung hindi tayo makikipagsama katulad ng China, Brazil, India, sa negosasyon, maaaring hindi nila tayo pakikinggan. Kaya we're grouping ourselves with a Group 77 that includes China, India, Brazil, and South Africa to drive a point na kung hindi nyo i-reduce yung emission nyo, ay wala ring mangyayari. At ang nangyayari kasi matindi ang usapin, minsan very technical, pero pag titingnan mo talaga ng kabubuan is yung economic implication ng bawat country by reducing emission. Anong industries ang papatayin mo at sisirain mo pag gagawin mo to? Tulad sa atin, pinag-uusapan yung plastic dahil daw sa addressing climate change. Ang sinasabi na ano naman relasyon ng plastic doon sa pagbabago ng klima. Ito ang isa sa mga gusto naming masagot na mga tanong, lalo na sa media na kailangan namin maging kaakibat para maiparating sa ating kababayan kung paano pag-explain itong mga bagay na to in simplest terms.
Carlo Corongoy of RPN 9.
Ma'am, yung ano po, critical to centigrade level, malapit na nating ma-achieve and yet parang 5 or ilang taon na lang yung natitira sa atin. Bakit ngayon lang natin dinidiscuss itong mga usapan na to?
Ngayon lang kasi talagang tumindi. Minsan, you have to see that it's happening to be a major motivation for you to act. 1992 pa po pinag-uusapan na. Meron na to tayong kinreate na interagency committee on climate change, pero hindi umabot sa level ng usapin sa taas at hindi na-translate sa budget. So, nag-create ng Climate Change Commission in 2009 dahil nag-responde doon sa Ondoy. So, ang nangyayari, nag-respond tayo doon sa sitwasyon kasi nakita na natin. Pero ang bagyo ay iisa lang na impacto. Ang hindi pa natin nakikita at hindi nyo pa nare-report, yung mga lugar kung saan halos 3 beses na lumipat yung mga komunidad from the shoreline kasi kinakain na ng dagat. Pati yung pag-reduce ng isda sa Zamboanga last year by almost 40% dahil nag-iba yung fish migration. Hindi nga natin maintindihan kung dahilan ba to ng pagbabago ng klima. Pero ang isa rin namin panawagan, wag naman natin gawing ready excuse na pag may bagyo at fish kill ay pagbabago ng klima ng dahilan. Kaya tinatawag namin na sana meron kayong vulnerability assessment na science-based, hindi yung haka-haka lang. At yun ang aming talagang matinding itinutulak sa mga budget ng ahensya at sarili na rin naming budget.
So, parang lang tayo, nagiging reactive lang po.
Laging
talaga.
reactive, even our disaster risk mitigation is very reactive. Pati yung point of reference nila, for example, ng seawall, kunwari, is that yung historical typhoons, yung historical, luma na yon. Ang hindi natin na-factor in is yung future projection. Yung climate scenario, according to DOST Pag-asa, in 2020, Mindanao will experience less water. And in some areas, ang extremity ko kasi yun, kung maulan ngayon na 100, magiging 1,000 na siya by 2020. Are our facilities ready? Are our infrastructures ready? I don't think we can answer that question right now. That's why there's a need for us to know all these things. Para kung maningil man tayo sa gobyerno, alam natin kung paano singilin. Kung wala kayong vulnerability assessment, paano mo nasasabi tama yung binigay mong budget dyan?
Ma'am, last na lang po.
Sige po.
Ma'am, tayo po dito sa kwartong to, naiintindihan natin yung pinag-uusapan natin. Pero yung mga manonood po, makapakinig ng kung ano man yung ibabalita natin. Paano nyo may pararating sa mga tao yung simpleng paraan na kailangan ng umaksyon ngayon bago mahuli ng lahat?
Una, local government. Pag sinabi na meron ng study na umalis ka dyan dahil landslide prone, gawin mo. At pag pinaalin mo sa tao na alam mong landslide prone, nandun ka pa rin, dapat ipaalam rin sa local na there was sufficient notice. Kasi pagdating sa panahon kung saan nagkaka-disaster na, nagtuturuan. Kung magtuturuan man tayo, magturuan tayo ng tama. Tulad sa atin, kahit sa solid waste, ako nagsisegregate pagdating sa basurahan, ipag-halo-halo din ng basurero. So at the same time, marunong dapat ang ating mamayan maningil ng tama nang hindi lang nagrereklamo ng basta lang magreklamo. There is really a need for us to be informed, and it's our role to inform them. And we seek the media's help to make sure that this is translated in the simplest term para yung kababayan naman po natin alam din nila ang responsibilidad nila.
Madel Sabater of Manila Bulletin.
Good afternoon, ma'am. The Philippines tried to negotiate 0.5 to 1% of developed countries' GDP during the climate change talks in December 2009 sa Copenhagen. Ma'am, ano na pong naging update nito?
The Copenhagen failed. It failed because the document ay ginawa lamang ng iilang bansa. So hindi tayo nag-accede dun sa accord. Iisa tayo sa mga bansa na kahit maliit, mayabang at nagsabing ayaw namin yan. Pero pumuntak tayo sa Cancun the next year and we came out with an agreement. Ang isang lumabas doon ay nag-create sila ng Green Climate Fund. This will probably be the biggest fund that will address changes of climate. At ang Pilipinas dahil sa kaingayan ay nakapasok dyan. Ngayon pupunta na naman kami sa Durban. Hindi natin alam kung matutuloy itong Green Climate Fund. Pero maugong ang usapin, nag-aaway-away, ibig sabihin malamang meron. Pero mananatili kaming, we are aware about this situation. We know how much we need. It's not enough. We know that what we have is not enough. That's why we continue to engage in extreme diplomacy, of course, with our neighbors to make sure that we can also adapt to these changes.
Okay. Okay, Rocky. Last question, Rocky.
Ma'am, clarification lang. So ano magiging role natin dun sa Green Climate Fund? Ano yung dapat nating gawin doon?
Ang role natin doon is they're designing kung paano yung ease of access. Kung meron man pera, paano ba i-access to ng mas madali? Yun naman ang pera for the national interest. Kung hindi man makuha lahat, at least hindi man na tayo pahirapan. Na dahil meron na 1,000 kondisyon, ayaw natin ng ganun. The ease of access is important to us.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Vice Chairperson of the Climate Change Commission, Lucille Sering.
Also, huwag kayong mawawala at November 21, 2 to 5. 3 hours lang naman workshop on climate change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Thank you, Radio TV Malacanang. Back to main studios of Radyo ng Bayan and PTV4.